To fail, there can be hundreds of reasons, hundreds of excuses. But to succeed here, we have one destination and one reason to succeed. Welcome to Gallant IAS, and this is our rapid fire round of Modern India series. And today we are covering from module 6 to module 10. As usual, we are selecting one topic from each module and solving their very potential questions also. Now our preliminary examination is just nearing, and your strategy has to be scoring 120 plus, 130 plus. That can be the maximum cutoff. So let us start now. Yeah, sixth module, I start with tribal uprisings. Tribal uprisings or civil rebellions of 19th, 20th century. Tribal uprisings and popular civil rebellions of 19th and 20th century. This is very important. You have to study the major causes and consequences of such uprisings and rebellions, British responses, and its impact on different social classes. Yeah, Sandal Hole, Sandal Rebellion. Location Eastern India. You have to study this because in the prelims examination they may ask in match the pair type of questions or in statement type of questions. So its location Eastern India. Year was 1855-56. Major causes were permanent settlement 1793, permanent Mahalwari Riotwari settlement, land revenue policies of the British, their causes, consequences, impact on Indian economy, impact on different agrarian groups, social classes, very important for you. When permanent settlement was introduced in Eastern India, the Sandal farmers lost their ownership over land. They were forced to pay higher taxes, higher land revenues, and when they were unable to pay the revenue, their properties were seized, and they were physically, financially, sexually were exploited by these revenue collectors or zamindars. Then sometimes they were forced for unpaid labor also. These were the major causes. Leaders were Sidhu and Kanhu, and the nature of the revolt, it was an armed rebellion. That's important. It was an armed rebellion. It was an armed, violent rebellion against this British. They applied guerrilla tactics, guerrilla warfare in the fight against this British. They attacked the symbols and authorities of this colonial British in India, and the outcome was creation of paraganas. So all these are already asked in the previous exams, different occasions, different questions. So take care, these concepts are important for your examination. So the result was, yeah, creation of an independent district for them, for maintaining their or preserving their culture, their autonomy, etc. A separate district, including paraganas, created for Sandals. Okay, so it was an inspiration for the future agrarian movements in British India. Moving on to the question, which of the following is correct about these Sandal uprisings of 1855-56? Introduction of Mahalwari system ignited this rebellion. You can strike it off, that is wrong, because it was not Mahalwari, it was permanent settlement. So you know, yeah, what are the different land revenue policies and which part of Indian subcontinent such land revenue policies implemented, and what are the different rebellions or revolt organized against such land revenue policies of the British. Now here first is eliminated, so you are eliminating choice A and choice D also. Now here you see, look into the answer code. Bombay is there, C is there. In both common is 4. That means 4 is the correct answer, correct statement. Now you check the validity of the second or third one. They were helped by large number of non-tribals and poor Dikus. That is a correct statement. These Sandal mutineers were supported by outsiders also, non-tribals also. For example, yeah, the weavers, potters, like spinners, or these fishermen or carpenters, they all supported these Sandals in their fight against this British. So second statement is the correct one. So your answer will be 2 and 4 only. Bombay is the answer. Sandal rebels were treated very leniently by the British officials. That is absolutely wrong. It was not like my dear Sandal comrades, please come, let's have a cup of tea, let's enjoy these Black Forest cake pieces, let's have a discussion, let's watch the movie. It was not like that. Very brutal reaction from the side of the British, brutal suppression. So your answer has to be Bombay 2 and 4 only. Okay, let's move on to the next module. Yeah, that is the colonial India. You have to study colonial India and what was the administrative system of the British in India. Okay, so you take care the administrative reforms, the major governor generals, viceroys and their contributions, or the reforms, administrative, revenue, judicial, military, police, reforms of these governor generals, viceroys, and major events happened during that time. That's very important for you. So here I picked William Bentinck, the first Governor General of India. His tenure was 1828 to 1835. So here you have to study the popular Governor Generals and Viceroys of India, from Warren Hastings to Lord Canning, from Lord Canning to Mountbatten, and the reforms and major reforms and major events important for you. So William Bentinck is regarded as the first Governor General of British India. His tenure was from 1828 to 1835. Under Charter Act 1833, he was the first Governor General of British India. Now here, the major reforms you see, as soon as he arrived here, British East India Company was facing a fiscal deficit here, financial crisis here. What he done to overcome such a fiscal deficit? Reduction of the salaries and allowances. Okay, then abolition of additional staff, abolition of double butta. Double butta was that was an additional allowance given to soldiers on their active missions or active services. That is also abolished. And provincial courts abolished. Circuit courts, 4 provincial courts abolished, because there is an increasing arrears of the cases, and also it is an additional expenditure, judicial expenditure. So to reduce that, all these reforms he undertaken. Because of that, when he left India at that time, treasury was filled with a surplus of 1.5 million. So this is William Bentinck. His economic reforms are important, administrative reforms are important. It was during his time Mysore, Coorg kind of the princely states being annexed to British India. Then social reforms you take care, abolition of sati, then restriction on the female infanticide. Then this Thuggy and Dacoity Department was established, and there is brutal suppression of the thugs. Okay, proper maintenance of law and order, and these thugs were suppressed, and Colonel Sleeman, he was in charge of this particular mission. Then in the lower courts he introduced that local language, and in the higher courts he introduced English language instead of Persian. Okay, appointed a public instruction committee under chairmanship of Lord Macaulay, and English was accepted as the official language. Okay, and also that was the medium of instruction. English was the medium of instruction. Now you are in a position to answer this question. Which one of the following not included among the reforms of this William Bentinck? Introduction of English in higher courts, exactly, that is a reform of this William Bentinck. Then you can see abolition of provincial courts of appeal, that is again a reform of William Bentinck. But suppression of gowns, suppression of Pindadis, not at all reforms of William Bentinck. Suppression of gowns, that was by Lord Harding. Suppression of Pindadis, that is why Lord Hastings. You see the movie Bahubali, and there is Pindadis, or maybe that Lord Hastings. There is something which is related to Pindadis that discussed, even seen in the movie. So Pindadis, obviously we discussed in the Anglo-Maratha wars, etc. They're all in this Maratha administration, Maratha force, etc. We discussed. So the suppression of Pindadis by Lord Hastings eventually resulted in this third Anglo-Maratha war, which we covered in our British conquest of India. Now here your answer, which of them not included among the reforms of William Bentinck? You can answer it. 3 and 4 is not among the reforms of Bentinck, so your answer has to be Delhi, 3 and 4 only. Moving on to the next module, which is 1857 Revolt, the major causes, consequences, character of the revolt, leaders of the revolt, and British responses or responses from Indian social groups. All are very, very important here, or various observations on this 1857 revolt by foreign historians and Indian historians important for you. Different schools of thought. Now here, what were the causes of these causes for the failure of 1857 revolt? Okay, in fact, all these in detail we have discussed in our comprehensive sessions. Now you just look into the failures. Yeah, this is something advanced weapons. British, British Army was the best in the Asia, best in the entire Asia. You see, so they had advanced weapons and superior resources. They had the three presidencies, regular supply of soldiers and manpower or these resources. So they are advanced in weapons and weaponry. Opposite side, Indian mutineers were with outdated weapons and military tactics, etc. That is a reason for failure. It is of no national character. There is no national ideology, no national goal. Yeah, it was because of their personal goals. Different leaders participated here. Rani Lakshmi Bai, the great heroine, or Nana Sahib, or Tandya Topi, or different leaders you see, maybe Kunwar Singh, Mangal Pandey, they all have their own justifications or reasons for participation. So it is lacking a national goal or national ideology. Then there is no middle class support, no intellectual class support, no rich merchant support. We have discussed separately why these different social classes did not participate in this 1857 revolt. Unorganized, ineffective leadership, means of communication. British had this railway, telegraph, etc. that helped them to reach even the remotest region and suppress this revolt. Yeah, British were, they had these modern scientific inventions, this scientific temper, guided by scientific temper, and they were advanced. But here we had outdated science, or maybe we were not that much advanced in science and this modern technology, etc. Loyalty of the native rulers to British. Okay, this Sindhi of Gwalior, Holkar of this Indore, Nizam of Hyderabad, or Raja of Kashmir, they all Ranas of Nepal, they all extended their support to British. That is also a reason why it was a failure, or why we failed. Okay, so just look into these causes of the failure of 1857 revolt. Now you are in a position to answer this question: which among the following not a reason for the failure of 1857 revolt? Leaders who are deficient in experience, absolutely, that is a reason. You can answer it right now. Conclusion of Crimean War, Chinese War, we discussed in our session. These are some reasons why British were able to mobilize their army and soldiers, etc. Loyalty of native rulers to British, again a reason for the failure. Lack of support of Indian National Congress, that is not a reason, because this INC formation, I said it was only in 1885 only. Okay. 1885 only, this Indian National Congress was formed, and this revolt was in 1857. So simple logic, there is no support of this INC, there is no question of INC. So D, Delhi is not a logical conclusion. That is your answer here. Now moving on to the next module, which is the constitutional reforms. I am picking Pitt's India Act of 1784. Major features, I am not discussing its backgrounds and all, which we covered in our session. Pitt's India Act of 1784, main features are like this. Yeah, that dual government. Dual government introduced here. One is Board of Control and one is already existing Court of Directors. Court of Directors, I told you, this is representatives of these shareholders. Okay, Board of Control, this is representatives of this British Parliament. So to look after the functions, to supervise the functions of Court of Directors, yeah, a Board of Control, 6-member Board of Control appointed by British Parliament. So these Court of Directors, they are answerable to this this Board of Control, Board of Control with the 6 members. Yeah, this will take care of the political affairs of company in India. Court of Directors will take care of this commercial affairs of company in India. Then reorganization of Governor General in Council, that is already created under Regulating Act 1773. Now that Governor General in Council reorganized like 1+3. Governor General himself and 3 permanent members in the Governor General Council, which will function. They together will function these executive legislative functions of the government. Okay. Then subordination of Madras Bombay Presidency to Calcutta Presidency. That is also part of centralization. These Madras and Madras and Bombay Presidencies, they are subordinated to Calcutta Presidency in terms of war, revenue, diplomacy, etc. So foreign affair or in terms of war, in terms of diplomatic relations, in terms of revenue affair, etc. Yeah, they will how to consult this Calcutta presidency. Whatever law is made in the Calcutta presidency, that will be automatically applied to these two presidencies in terms of these affairs. Okay. So these are some features of Pitt's India Act. Basically, to address the loopholes of Regulating Act 1773, this was passed, but it was also a failure. Now see, some merits are division of responsibilities, Board of Control, Court of Directors, Governor Generals, etc. And also Governor General is given a veto power. That is an advantage. Yeah, the Governor General is given a veto power, so he is powerful in his council. And now this is the question. With reference to Pitt's India Act, consider the following. Institution of Governor General in Council was created for legislative executive functions. This was a feature of Regulating Act 1773. Sum of rupees 1 lakh annually for the promotion of education of native Indians. That was a feature of Charter Act 1813. Then distinguished company powers by creating Board of Control, Court of Directors. Exactly. Third statement is the main feature of this Pitt's India Act 1784. Your answer is 3 only, Delhi. Moving on to the next module, which is about this Indian national movement, the causes of push and pull factors of Indian national movement. Okay, so the major factors leading to Indian national movement. So one of the major reason was this Ilbert Bill controversy. What was Ilbert Bill controversy? This is something which is related to removing a discrimination in the judiciary, in the British judiciary system in India. Okay, so you just see, according to this Ilbert Bill controversy, there the problem was, in the judiciary there existed racial discrimination. In the judiciary there existed racial discrimination. That means in the district criminal courts, Indian judges are not empowered to conduct the trial of the European criminals. European criminals in the criminal courts must be trialed by European judges only. Indian judges, they are not eligible to try to conduct the trial of these European criminals. So even the British say there is, rule of the law, everyone is equal in the eyes of law. In the judiciary system itself, there is discrimination, racial discrimination. European criminals must be tried by European judges only, no Indian judges. To end this discrimination, this bill was put forth by the then Viceroy of India. It was Ripon, and he is like a law member in the council. C.P. Ilbert drafted this bill, and Ripon introduced this bill in the council. But everyone, all these Anglo-Indians, Britishers, all those people, they boycotted the council, they rejected this bill due to strong opposition. Finally, Ripon had to withdraw this bill. Okay, this was a bill to end this racial discrimination in the judiciary. Withdrawal of the bill, that was an eye-opener for Indians. They understood that only solution to such racial humiliation is, that is an organized agitation, eventually resulting in this Indian national movement. Okay, many push and pull factors are the take care. This is also asked by UPSC several times. Ilbert Bill controversy was related to, just to go through all these options here. Okay, go through all these options and you will understand only one apt statement is, explanation is, yeah, that is the removal of disqualifications imposed on the Indian magistrates with regard to trial of the Europeans. Yeah, that is something which is Ilbert Bill controversy. So all of you guys, please have a thorough preparation of history. So all subjects are important, especially history, economy, geography, polity, environmental science. These are the main pillars of your exam. Maximum questions would be asked from these areas and the related current affairs also. So have a thorough revision, good practice of the mock test series and previous year's questions. If you find this video helpful to you, please do subscribe our channel. And what all your suggestions, your feedback, you can please mention it in the comment section, comment box. Okay, and that's it. Thank you.